This episode of the Inside Running podcast is proudly sponsored by our locals at Ernieold. Head over to ernieold.com for quality running apparel made right here in Australia.
Pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking. Under
Welcome to episode number 257 of the Inside Running podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Big weekend of running to talk about in this episode. We've got Melbourne Marathon to talk about. We've got the London Marathon to talk about that happened yesterday. And I think that's all we've got in running news this week, but I'm sure we'll be banging on about that stuff for a while. We are going to have a bit of a quicker show than usual because we've got our audio from the live show yesterday to include at the back of the episode. So, the audio quality won't be as good as what we're recording at right now, but I'm sure people will still enjoy it. We have a bit of an interview with Matt Clarke there as well. Welcome to my co-host up in Canberra, Bradley Croker. How you going tonight?
Thanks, Brady. I'm looking forward to hearing the live show, given I wasn't there.
Your name came up a few times too, didn't it, Moose? Ripped into him a couple of times.
Did we get into him?
We got him. Yeah, could have gone harder. Could have gone harder.
I think mostly from the audience just saying how good it was just to have some... just the younger fellas on the show.
It's always easy to rip into somebody when they're not there.
Would have been nice for you to make an effort and come down, Croaks. Did you regret it?
A little bit. I felt sorry for you boys in that last couple of hours trying to replace me after Sinead pulled out. Yeah,
well, we did have you replaced until that morning. We thought we were all kind of set, but we talk about that in their live show audio. We'll get to that a bit later on. My other co-host, I think, is back down in Anglesea. He was in Melbourne yesterday. Julian Spence, how you going?
Mate, I'm tired.
Oh, yes. You had a birthday party today as well.
Well, not a party, but I was sick all day. I had this stomach cramp, and it only came good about 4 o'clock. I reckon it was rough. It was Pia's birthday, so I had to be up and about even when I was sick.
Too many more yesterday, you reckon?
Did you break your rule of wishing people happy birthdays? Did you wish Pia happy birthday? Because I know wishing happy birthdays isn't your thing.
I did. No, I did wish Pia happy birthday. I even sang her a song.
That's nice.
So that was fun.
Good man.
Yeah. What else did we do? Went out and visited some farms. Just drove around the farming area and showed her some cows. And I did called the cows in. And they all came from all over the paddock and surrounded us. That was pretty fun. Saw a tiger snake. That was also fun. Patted a horse. So just a great day for Pia.
First birthday. Time flies, doesn't it? This time last year, talking about, childbirthing stories.
Oh, mate. This time last year, we just put that out of our minds forever, I think. Forget
until the next one comes, Moose.
No comment.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Wow.
There'll
be some news in the next coming weeks, Croaks, you reckon?
Not at all.
I reckon.
I heard it here first.
Not at all.
Well, boys, we will quickly do our recaps, then we're going to jump straight to running news and then go to the audio because every other segment's in the audio at the end there. So, Croaks, tell us about what you're doing up there. You've come good by the looks of things. Strava's looking pretty healthy.
Yeah, so on paper it's looking better. Body's not amazing, but we'll get to that. So 4:14s for an hour on the Monday. Tuesday I met up with Rob, one of the guys that I coached, and we did a hill session. So the session was 2 sets of 7 45-second hills. We're taking about 70 seconds recovery between the hills, and after 7 we took a 3-minute break. So that was pretty good. Like, I ran the first set pretty close to him, so that was quite comfortable, and then I picked up a bit the second set. So I was happy with how that felt. Pissed down with rain, like thunderstorm, just as we started cooling down. Then Wednesday, because we've had so much rain, I decided just to run from home on the bike paths. So 90 minutes Wednesday afternoon, 4:03s. It's pretty solid run. Didn't feel great. I've just had this, I'm not locked like I was, in the last couple of years, but my back just feels really tight and jammed. Almost like every time my foot hits the ground, I feel like my back's like jarred or jarring, and it's just it's not affecting my stride so much, but it's just I just don't feel as efficient as I was in the lead up to Gold Coast or even post Gold Coast. So it's really just been a thing since coming off this last break of after the pneumonia. Ran on the bike path again on Thursday, just because of how much rain we've had. So that was 4:14s for 45 minutes. Treadmill session on the Friday. This didn't feel too bad, actually. So I just did my 6-minute session again. The previous week I did 4 reps. This time I did 5 reps. Heart rate was a little bit lower than the previous week, so that was a good sign. And then Saturday was an hour, 4:14s, and then Sunday 2 hours, pretty much the same loop that I did the previous week at 4:04s. So I was about 8K into my run, and Rory Hunter and Josh Johnson were heading back the other way, so I joined them for probably close to 10K, and then finished off the run around sort of Yerrabee Pond. So it was a week of 124.8K, which is about 10K more than the week before. Just got to try and just get his back sorted. Like, it's nothing major, but it's just it's just making the running a bit harder than it should be.
You got some treatment lined up?
I know, but I probably should. Yeah, so I should go and get some.
Get in there, Croaks.
I've been doing lots of like self treatment, like massage gun and stretching and that sort of stuff. So I think I can get on top of it.
Yeah. Moose, what have you been doing?
Well, I had the race week, I guess. So pretty typical race week. Lately, I just treated it like it was more like a cross country race. I got out on just Monday, just for a bit of a longer jog, because what did I do? Had the Sunday easy or something like that. So I ran 53 minutes. Geez, that's sad that I call that a longer jog right now, but that's what it is. So 11.5K. Next day, again, 40 minutes. I think I did some surges in this run. I did a workout on the Wednesday, 10 by minute hard, minute jog. So 20 minutes sort of fartlek. And I thought that I was going a bit faster than what I was for this one, which was disappointing when I got back to the phone and saw the splits, because it was basically like pretty much a minute as hard as I could go, and then a minute jog. And then some of the reps were like 3:10 pace, which isn't very impressive. It was kind of, it's not that hard of a workout actually. It's pretty easy really. Because
I liked your honesty there, Moose, though, because it's so easy, like when you're coming back to like just not give any detail like that and just go, oh yeah, no, that was a pretty easy session, like 3 minute Ks for a minute. I was cruising, and then for you to say that it was a bit slower than I'd thought for the effort that I was putting in, it's good.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't hide really, can you, on Strava? I would hit the watch. I had it kind of auto split, so it would auto interval, and it would count down 3, 2, 1. And I was even going before the gun went, so I had a bit of a moving start, but it still wasn't enough. I'm not too fussed about it. It's just nice to be able to get some workouts in at the moment. I'm still like in this honeymoon period after an injury where everything still feels like a bonus, and I'm not getting disappointed with workouts or anything, or I'm not getting greedy. So I'm not like, it's all pretty positive still. I think after this weekend where I was involved like with the event but not fit enough to be properly involved with it, now's the time where I feel like I want to get some ambition again. I've got the ambition again, driving home. I'm thinking, okay, like there's two things going on in my mind. One of them is you got to start training more. Like it's time to get going. It's time to run harder, longer. Let's do some more long runs. The workouts need to get harder. And then the second thing is like, no, just play, like be smart, be safe. Like you did a long workout yesterday, just run half an hour today. And at the moment, like the sensible option always wins, which is, it's kind of boring, but I just don't feel properly ready. Like the intuition says, don't push it just yet. So it might come back maybe as the weather gets warmer. We'll see. But yeah, I just jogged. I ran the next day 40 minutes from my mum's house. So I ran just down, out and back on a dirt road. Got going. I think I don't know what I had in my ears that day, but I was pushing a bit faster and harder than normal. I must have had something good in there. Maybe the Christian interview talked about his race. Could be that, actually. That was on the Thursday. Maybe that was it.
Could have been, yeah. That's
bit of Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba, yeah. No, I like the lead-in song. What was that?
Len, Still My Sunshine.
Yeah,
that's a classic, isn't it?
I didn't know the band.
That's the only song they've got, so I'm surprised.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised you didn't know the band.
What was is it because he was positive? Is that why you picked that?
No, it just come on my iPod that morning, and I'm just like, this is a great song. I'm going to put on the starter road to Berlin.
Yeah, I was trying to find the relevance.
Berlin did not steal his sunshine. He's bouncing back, as the end song suggests.
Yeah. Jogged again on Saturday morning, and then went to work Saturday. Had a big day. Head store. Kind of was a bit cooked after that. Drove to Melbourne and stayed in a hotel, like a really nice hotel, but
5-star Croaks. He told me
5-star. Yeah.
Are you surprised though, Brady?
Nah.
Nothing but the best.
Hey, Ali picked this. This was a business trip. She gave me the all clear. She also took a room there. But no, it was like a studio room, so there wasn't a bedroom like separate. And so Pia goes down at like 7:30, pitch black, white noise like blaring. I'm like, I guess we're going to bed now too, because what else are you going to do? You can't put the TV on. You can't have any lights on. It's pretty much just lights out. And so I woke up like 3 hours later thinking that it was morning, and I look at the clock and it said 10:30 p.m. Like, oh boy, this is going to be a long night.
Then how many times did you Google like Melbourne time now when you woke up throughout the night? I did that. So many listeners would have done that with daylight savings. It's like my phone says it's 4 a.m, but is it really 4 a.m, or has my phone not changed yet? Or there would have been some people having nightmares Saturday night.
Yeah, I knew if there was light coming through the window, I was in a lot of trouble.
I missed it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I had a terrible sleep, but mainly because of that too. In the end, 72K for the week, which is nearly on my record for the moment, maybe second off since I came back. Anyway.
So why not go for the downgrade to the 4-star, but the 2 bedrooms?
No, there was nothing left. So it was very difficult to get a room. And in the end, we wanted kings. So like Ali, she said, I don't want anything less than a king bed. So I may have also said that. So there are a few queen beds still left around Melbourne, but there was only a couple of kings, and one of them was at the Langham. And I'd got word of the breakfast there. It was pretty spectacular. So it we went to it after we went around and watched the race. $70 for the breakfast, and worth it. So every sort of cuisine there, but perfectly cooked everything, fresh everything. They had a chocolate fountain. I had a breakfast dessert, so I went up, got chocolate ice cream, waffles, chocolate fountain. There was Smarties you put along, or M&Ms you put on. It was.
No wonder you got a crook guts.
Yeah.
Talking about crook guts today.
I'm just enjoying to hear the other half leave it, Croaks. This is what it must be like. You know what I had for breakfast after the race, Moose?
Cornflakes.
I had a $1 slushy from 7-Eleven and a Mars bar. That's what the nearest thing I was when I walked back to my car.
Well, that's just not... Mate, you walked through the city of Melbourne.
I went the other way. I was going the other side. My car was on
what
the
other side? You're
East
in the middle
Melbourne
of the
side,
city.
Jollymont Station. I was going that side.
So you're not telling me there's a cafe in East Melbourne?
Oh, there probably is, but this is the blue collar in me, mate.
Yeah, that's the thing. I reckon there's a bit in
sugar.
There's a bit in this. Moose, you are so far removed from being blue collar these days, and it's really showing in your running as well. Get back to blue collar, and I reckon you'll run 2:13.
Yeah, I don't think
too many luxuries in life. You don't see Kipchoge doing this.
Get out of the Langham and get back into a bloody, I don't know.
Is that a good have you heard of that before, Croaks? That hotel?
Oh, I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay, that's his name dropping. I'd never heard of it and I wasn't sure if it was a thing or not.
Well, I'd never stayed there before.
It's not helping you, Moose. It's not helping you at all.
Yeah, I don't think it fixes arthritis being blue collar. I don't think staying in shit hotels helps, bone on bone, patella on whatever, femur. I wish it did. But unfortunately, I don't think that is the main issue with my running right now.
Maybe you need a training camp. Go off the grid somewhere for just 2.5, 3 weeks.
Rocky Fort.
Yeah.
Take Pierre to Kenya. No. Go somewhere different. Go to Morocco. Go somewhere way out. There's altitude in Morocco. And
somewhere where the testing isn't great.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I could probably, I could make my arthritis go away with some good growth hormone.
Into Mexico, with a stem cell or something like that.
You would feel good on
Panama.
that stuff. As a 40-year-old, Croaks, you would love a bit of this, I reckon.
My body's pretty good. I don't have any.
You're just banging on about your back.
I don't have any bloody ligament cartilage issues.
It doesn't matter. It would still recover. You'd run your Sunday long run pace every day.
I pretty much do.
Yeah, but you'd do 30k every day.
Yeah.
It would be the dream, I reckon.
All right, tell us about your week, Brady.
70 minutes in the morning for me Monday and 35 minutes in the afternoon. Tuesday I did a workout, Kenyan fartlek, 2 minutes on, 1 minute float, times 15, so 45 minutes in total. It's kind of hovering around 3:07 pace for the ons and 3:35 pace for the offs. A long fartlek, 45 minutes. I was kind of pretty over it about 27, 28 minutes in, so kind of had to keep the mind switched on. One of those ones where the pace just gets harder. You got the brakes on for probably the first 4 or 5 and you're kind of hitting 3:07s, no worries. And then the longer you go, the harder it is to hold that pace and the brakes aren't on anymore. So I was happy with that. It was 14k at 3:14s in the end, so a nice little workout. Keeping in mind that I was doing my longer workout at Melbourne later in the week, so I wanted to do something shorter and a bit quicker pace on the Tuesday. Got out for 35 minutes in the afternoon in the Arvo. 2 hours Wednesday at 4:11s. Got out on the this big loop out Thyra Road, come back in, which was nice to be able to get a kind of 2 hour loop going. Got chased by a what kind of dog you got, Moose? German Shepherd.
Yeah.
In my own world. I was actually listening to your mates on that new podcast you recommended the other week, Bromley Lynch. Yeah. I was listening to their episode with Jack Post, and I'm just minding my own business on this bike path. This German Shepherd's just ran straight across the road. This is massive country road. Ran from a farmhouse, and I've only noticed it when it's crossed the road and got really close to me. And I'm just I was this thing is going to kill me. Just had 1 second to react, kind of just ran off the footpath a bit. Had a bit of a a bit of an kind of yell at it to try and scare it off. And then there was a tradie in the house that it come from, and he's yelling at me mate, it won't hurt you, but it's a stupid dog. We're trying to get hold of the owners at the moment because I think they were trying to do some work on this house couldn't get in to do work on the house, and this dog's running amok. which is pretty like it's 100k zone the road it crossed. Like it was lucky it didn't get skittled because it come straight across for me. So I reckon if you wanted to look through at my graph, you'd see where my pace picked up for about 10 seconds there when I tried to get away from it. But I would have been in trouble if it was aggressive. Anyway, 30 minutes in the afternoon after that one. 16k in the morning on, I think I'm up to Thursday. 8k in the afternoon Thursday. Then Friday, I went and did some hill strides. First I warmed up for like 30 minutes. You know that scenic drive where we ran around Croaks, me and you that time, next to the river, that path?
Yeah.
It's underwater. Yep. Well, most of it's underwater. The river's high, boys. It's only going to get higher once the snow starts melting. So, yeah, we're kind of on flood watch up here. I know, I think I've talked about this the last couple of weeks. Might be filling sandbags soon. So, yeah, that's our main kind of main tracks underwater. So that's pretty significant. And then I did 10 by 20 second hills just up the new ramp on the new bridge. So that was okay. Like it, I was kind of thinking, oh, this would be easy. 20 seconds over pretty quick. But after the 10th one, I was pretty glad that the workout was over. Like I wouldn't say it was like workout exhaustion, but I definitely felt like I'd done something for 20 minutes and pretty like trying to make them pretty explosive. Pretty much flat hacker for the whole 20 seconds, and not a huge hill, but enough that you're definitely climbing. So that was good. I might do that a bit more often instead of just like straight strides, do some hills.
You should do some actual workouts on that.
Yeah, well, it probably goes for, you could probably get maybe 70 seconds out of it.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah. You mean like easy. Longer tempos and stuff?
No, I mean like repeats.
Oh, yeah, longer hills. Because you can also, there's a couple of rollers afterwards. Like you could almost do 3K of like 3K out, 3K back. And you could do like a solid, if you had to do a 12 or 6K tempo, that would be worth doing.
How much climbing would there be in that 6K, you think?
I don't know. Not massive. But like what were the hills? So like 10 by 20 seconds got me 55 metres. So I suppose that's okay.
That's decent, yeah.
Yeah. Like, so yeah, considering it's only a short amount of time. I might put it on and just go over it. So that was that. Jogged easy in the afternoon Friday. Then just one run Saturday before I went to Melbourne. It was beautiful weather though. Just enjoyed this one. And then, went to Melbourne for the pace job, which you can hear about my recount in the live show at the end here. So that was 191.5k. A good 2 weeks of training on school holidays. I forgot to tell you how many Ks I ran last week, boys, and I cracked 200. It was 204 last week and 191 this week. So
on purpose?
Yeah, I wanted to try and hit high mileage because I was on school holidays.
Remember he said he was going to try and hit 2 weeks at 200 while I was on holidays? Or you tuned out?
What about a lot? Yeah, I didn't really listen to that. But talk about me having a good life. How do you have time to do that?
Well,
he's fit, Moose. He's fit.
I also thought I was just like, I actually wanted to know, because I think I'd never ran 200k before, but I was like, we often say that the pro guys don't do enough mileage. Like it's one of our things, like should they do higher mileage? So I'm like, I wonder what doing 200k does feel like. And when I say I was on school holidays, like I wasn't on inside running holidays or run to PB holidays or like parenting holidays. Like I still had a bit going on in my life. And I know it's different when you do 2 weeks of it compared to, 20 weeks of it. But it didn't feel that hard. But
that's good.
Probably got to stress in 3 weeks. Then. I wasn't walking around fatigued or anything like that. But yeah.
Well, it's not like you don't have a history of running miles.
I know. Yeah. So it was just a bit of an interesting thing. But yeah, lifestyle won't be doing that in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, boys, we're going to skip the Patreon thanks tonight because I haven't researched patrons because we've been busy in Melbourne over the weekend. But I do say a very nice thank you to our Patreon supporters at the start of the live show audio. And we're going to skip straight to running news. We'll go London first. Brett Robinson, our man, been talking about him on this show for years, what he's going to run for the marathon. And he got one on the board. He got a good one on the board. Become the 6th Australian to go sub 210. He ran 209.52, which was a PB by 63 seconds. He moves from the 12th fastest to the 6th fastest Australian of all time. And it's the fastest Australian marathon for 19 years. He came 8th place at the London Marathon. and he's the 9th Australian London Marathon top 10 in the last 30 years, going by these notes here from Dave Tarbottom. So it was good to see. He went through half in 64.27, and then I got concerned because 25 to 30, he was averaging 3:15k pace. So he went through that 5k in 16:11, and I thought he was in a bit of trouble. But then he pulled it back and pretty much averaged like 3:05, 3:06s all the way to 40k, and then closed the last 2.2k in 3-minute k pace. So good to see that happen. Good to see another Australian under that 2:10. So who's that? Like Deke, Mona, Derek Clayton, Troopy, Pat Carrol. Yeah. Didn't Camp, he just missed it, didn't he?
Just missed it. Crichton's just missed it. Crichton's run like 2:10.20.
Yeah.
So there's a fair few in the 2:10s.
Yeah, okay. Yep. What do you think,
Nick
Croaks?
Harrison in the 2:10? Nick Harrison?
Yeah. Yep. He's run the same time as Crichton. To the second.
To the second.
What do you think first? I didn't watch the race, but I was following the splits. And so when I saw Brett and Ed Goddard together sort of through halfway, personally I thought, Brett should be able to, for a guy that's broken 60 minutes for a half, 64 through halfway or 64 and a half, it should feel pretty comfortable. It certainly should feel more comfortable for him than what it would for Ed. But then I was the same as you. When I saw the split of, basically him running 3:12s or whatever for that 5K, I'm like, oh, here we go. It's going to, you don't see many people come back from that. And then he started to pick it up. He was running back to mid 15-minute 5K, so back to 3:06s. And then you knew that. So I'd heard an interview after the race, and he basically said that he still had stomach issues, but so what he did was when he felt it come on, he just dialed it right back and almost treated it like a training session where that was the recovery part, hoping that it would just settle down. And he said he tried to change his breathing a little bit, and it obviously did improve. He said he still felt it, all the way to the finish line, but it was manageable to the point that he could still, run low 3-minute Ks. So it's pretty impressive running, to be able to recover and then get back to pretty much, 2:07, 2:08 marathon pace, which is, probably what he's targeting. It shows that on the right day, if he can get, if you can get on top of this stomach stuff, that 2:07 is there.
Yeah, and that makes sense why then he would have got to 40 and being like, okay, go, roll it again now.
Yeah.
Open it up, yeah.
Yeah, because I'll try and find the. Yeah, so I saw Ed, obviously, he started to drop time after just after half. So he was basically running 3:12s from halfway through to 25k, and then 3:29s from 25 to 30. So you sort of knew that he was done. And as I said, I thought Brett was going down the same track, but then I saw that he came back with because he ran a 16:20, I think, Brett, and then he came back with
and then 15:37, 15:16. So he's kind of done the last 7k as a progression run. He went 3:08, 3:04s 3.
Yeah, that 15:16 from 35 to 40, that's impressive running, because yes, he had a few easy kilometres in there, but your legs are still going to be beat up at that point of a marathon. So it's it was good that he broke 2:10, because that's obviously a massive barrier, but it should also give him a lot of confidence that he's got a couple of minutes in him if he doesn't have to slow down.
Yeah, it shows a lot of maturity how he handled that.
Yeah, I didn't realise that's what happened.
Neither did I. Well. Yeah, I didn't know that either. In fact, all I saw were the halfway split and the finish split, and so I thought, oh yeah, it's a slight positive split, but not too bad. So it's funny how the actual story can go a lot deeper than what you see on the results page.
But Brady, you would have thought that was the case though, wouldn't you? When you saw that he'd run 3:15s for a 5k split, then 3:08s, 3:04s, you're like, well, you would have thought that it's going to be his stomach.
I actually thought it was bizarre, because you never see people come good. When you see a bad split from 25 to 30, it's your race is kind of over. You rarely see, and I think that's probably what's happened to him in the past. But as you said, the maturity to be it's coming, let's relax it and lose some time here to save the race and then come home strong when you're close to the line. I think that's a great move. Yeah, I was actually I felt like, poor thing, it's happened again here. And he's, it's going to be a 16:11, and then we're going to see a 16:30, and then a 17:30, and he might come in 2:11, 2:12.
Shows how efficient he is, though, at like that low 3-minute kilometre pace. Like, he does seem to be able to just churn that off pretty comfortably. Like, as I said, 3:04s between 35 and 40K. Like, that's good running at the end of a marathon, even if you have had an easier 5K.
Yeah, well, your threshold's low 250s. You'd think it would be pretty comfortable. I know it doesn't always translate like that. Yeah.
Winner of the guessing
But it's good to see that 210 mark. Sorry, that 210 mark. It's kind of like the ladies' 225 mark. It's rare to see Australians underneath it, and I mean maybe the 210 mark is because it's significant. We've had 5 for so long, and we've talked about it a lot lately. A lot. I don't know why we talk about that so much, but we do. So
what do you think Brett thinks about it?
I don't think that he would consider it a big deal.
Yeah,
to be honest. Yeah, I think he knows that he should. He probably doesn't think, "Wow, it's an honour to be there." I reckon he thinks, "Yeah, of course I'm there. Like I'd run under 60 for a half. Like I was always going to be there. It was just when, and now it's like, well, how fast am I actually going to go?"
Yeah, good point. I hadn't thought about that. Double your half, add 10 minutes is what he's done.
Oh yeah, but just look at all the athletes that are in there. He has the fastest half marathon out of all of them. Does he have the fastest? No, he does. Oh, does he have the fastest 5K?
Fastest 5K, I think. Sure. Troopy. Yeah, it'd be very close with Troopy.
13:10 maybe.
No, Troopy was in the teens. Yeah,
the Australian record for it.
I think it was around 13:15 at that point though. 13:14 maybe. Yeah.
I don't think he has the fastest 10, but he had that decent 10
in the Netherlands.
But yeah, I mean, he's an athlete with the credentials to be under there quite easily, and there are advancements now. We know that. Like, geez, we've seen the shoes do enough that there's more nutrition now, and obviously he had pacemakers, 3 of them, I think, because they were pacing the front Brit, Gebrselassie, I think it was. So every time I saw him, it was Goddard, 3 paces, and Gebrselassie, and maybe another 1 or 2 people. And then I don't know what happened. I think he stayed with one of the paces, going forward, because there are a few flashes of him because they had the camera on that British bloke.
Yeah, it didn't see much though. Troopy's got him in both the 5 and the 10.
Oh, does he? Yeah.
Yeah, Brett's ran 13:15, Troopy's ran 13:14. Both of them have ran 27:51 for 10K. Brett's 27:51.5, Troopy's 27:51.2.
Yeah, well, that's pretty close.
Just because I know Troopy listens, and I don't want to be on the end of a mean tweet for getting those stats wrong.
They were pretty close in the marathon too, weren't they? Maybe it was 15 seconds or something.
Troopy 2:09.49.
Yeah, wow.
What's that, 4 seconds?
3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Yeah. Do you know, I have to say that I was in a message group, so there's actual evidence of this, and I had a bet on with the others in the group, and I said Brett's going to run 2:09.52. And I've got evidence of that. That is to the second. I picked his marathon time.
I just can't see why you wouldn't then enter the competition and let everyone see it. If you're that confident about it, why not put an entry in on the Inside Running podcast Instagram account?
Enter your own contest?
I do. I try to win them all the time. And I was only 5 seconds off. So I reckon 5 seconds and in the public forum is better than privately getting it correct.
Nah, getting it correct. What do you reckon? Getting it correct.
I don't reckon you should be winning prizes from your own organisation.
Why not? I reckon. Try and win it. Mick Slater did win it. He guessed it to the absolute second moose, and he actually put it on the competition, so he won the competitions.
Ed as DNF?
Well, Ed's results just didn't get looked at because
cancelled.
Yeah, that got cancelled out, the DNF, and then because some people could argue, did anyone predict Ed to DNF? And then Brett, he could look at who then got closest to Brett. Nah, I'm just going whoever got Brett. So, yeah, the Ed Goddard story, though, he did go through half in 64.28 and then no split after 35k. But 25 to 30k, he was on 3:29 pace, and then 30 to 35, I think it was even slower than that. I did have that, but I haven't typed that in here correctly. So
shout out to Jimmy Constantine, who's looked after him with a "not Ed's day" comment.
On the Facebook post, I did see that.
Yeah, not Ed's day at the London Marathon.
A few of those were going around Strava last night after the Melbourne Marathon results.
I think people are taking the piss with it now. I love it.
I don't know who's taking the piss and who's like getting the piss taken out of them because you've taken the piss out of them and they've got no idea that it's a thing on a podcast now.
It's just, I love it now. I think it's great. It's a bit of a game as to who is serious and who's not.
Yeah. What about Krishna Stanton, though? Past guest, back on episode number 66. So if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and have a listen. The 56-year-old now, the 2002 Commonwealth Games silver medalist, she set a new world age best time, 55 to 59. She ran 2:48.06 for Lion. That was a good run.
That is solid. Very solid. I mean, geez. I mean, look at the results at Melbourne. Where does that put her?
Yeah, would have been up there. Don't have them all in front of me. Would have been up there. So that was good from Krishna.
Great from Krishna.
Croaks, we do talk about the Melbourne results in detail later on, but anything that you want to talk about to pick your brain on from someone watching it at home? Stream quality wasn't great, my wife said.
Yeah, so I got up. First thing I did was, so all the athletes I had running, I put them into the tracker, knowing that I wouldn't see them on the stream. Jumped on the stream, but I was very disappointed. Like, if I asked you boys, why would people get on? What would people want to see if you're watching a live stream of the Melbourne Running Festival? Like, what would you want to see?
The race?
Yeah, the race.
Yeah.
You're a pretty diehard nerd runner to put that on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, so I think the low light for me was we're getting towards the business end of the half marathon and the marathon, and we weren't seeing any footage. We had the two blokes at the finish line interviewing a 10-year-old kid who was in the stands, who had just run the 10K, and they were talking about how it was his birthday and he was looking forward to having quiche for dinner. And I'm just like, nobody is watching the stream for this. Like, yes, there's a time and a place for community involvement and activation and all that sort of thing. But, you know, the half marathon and the marathon have like 15 minutes left of running and you're going to this. It's terrible.
And you've got Jess Stenson, like, winning the thing, and Jack Rayner. Two big names in Australian running.
Like, they show them crossing the line, but it's just like, you know, things happen in that last 15 minutes. Yeah, so, like, I didn't see a lot of the race at all. So
were there cameras out on bikes on the course, were there?
Yeah. So there was footage of... So you didn't see a lot of the marathon. As soon as the half started, it was pretty much focused all on the half. So not a lot of the marathon. And then they obviously showed everyone, like all the winners crossing the line, but there wasn't a lot of quality footage, I didn't think.
Did you see much of Izzi in the marathon?
No, not a lot. And to be honest, I'd left to go for my run before she had finished.
Cracked it, left.
Oh, I was just like, yeah, well...
No, before she finished. You didn't see me finish then. I was after her.
No, I didn't see you finish.
Did you see?
Would have been in the car.
Was Moose any coverage of Moose on the live stream on the 230 group?
No, so I didn't watch it from the. I watched it. Well, I got to bed about 7:20. Yeah, so
7:20.
Yeah.
Too hard on them, Croaks. If you haven't watched the whole thing, you can't just expect to turn it on exactly the same time, see what you want to see.
No, I think I've got a fair point when you've got 10 or 15 minutes left of the marathon and the half and you're interviewing a 10-year-old kid in the stands. No, I think I've got a fair point.
What's your thoughts on quiche, though?
I haven't had quiche since I was at boarding school.
Yeah.
Quiche. What's that kid thinking? It's your birthday, get a fucking pizza, mate.
And the other thing, I always find it fascinating how confusing it is when people go into the MCG. Like, Jack was definitely... so before Jack got into the MCG, he was running up the back of people, and then they have to try and get Jack and the marathoners into the right chute when they come into the MCG. And even the guy that won the marathon, like, he didn't know where he was going on the MCG, which I think Millie did the same thing last year, like was on the half marathon, like map instead of the marathon. So it's a little bit confusing, I think, for some people when they go into the MCG.
Yeah, well, you'll hear the story later on, but I was pacing one of Moose's athletes, and he was fanging for 2:30, and you come in and there were two plastic like strips to follow, and then a third opening that said marathon that then took you pretty much to the fence line on the grass. And when we come in, I saw the sign that said marathon, so I was going right, and he was fanging it trying to get under 2:30, and he just went straight past the half marathon lady, and went in that way just because he didn't even click that he was running this, and it was pretty significant, like, difference in distances.
Yeah, well, the guy that won the marathon definitely like got lost on the MCG, and
you had to go back to grass as well. You're just like, I don't know why they put the marathoners on the grass, and there are a few things that just got to tighten up around that. The course, the chaos, I guess, on the course with the hit in the back of the half marathon, and the winners wouldn't know, would they? Did the Kenyans hit any traffic in the half marathon? Reece Edwards and that.
They seem to be okay. They seem to be better, but like, I guess where you're coming in, like 2 hours 30. Anybody slower than 2 hours 30 for the marathon, say 2 hours 30 to 3 hours, they're finishing with the 90 to 2 hour half marathons. And there's a lot in that 90 minutes to 2 hours in a half marathon, and there's also quite a few in between 2.5 and 3 hours for the marathon. So,
well, I'd even go 10 minutes earlier. I'd say the guys who are running 2:20-ish would have had, because there's a lot of half marathoners run a 1:20. Like, that's hard work, and you're still going quicker than them.
And I feel sorry for those marathoners that have to, because you know what it's like at the end of a marathon, you're not really thinking, like, it's hard to concentrate just on running, let alone having to like dodge and weave people. You want to make it as easy as possible for people that are in the last couple of kilometres of a marathon.
Yeah, well, I think if you're running, well, it probably doesn't matter what pace you're running. If you're finishing a marathon and you got 3 or 4K left, all you want to worry about is getting to the finish line, and you should have road to run on with people at your pace. I don't think you should have to, maybe, it's going to be busy, but there's a lot of people busy at your pace and you're moving together, not doing zigzag stuff at any pace. And I feel for those guys trying to run, between 2:20 and 2:30, and if you've got a zigzag, it's hard to zigzag at that speed.
Yeah, well, you think about it, a 3 hour marathon is running, 4:17s per kilometre. Like, that's significantly faster than, or 4:16s or 15, significantly faster than somebody that's running 2 hours for the half. Because what's 2 hours for the half? Like high fives? Like, that's a big difference. Like, you're running through a lot of people at a high rate of knots.
Yeah. That was the first year they've done that, so it'll be interesting to see what feedback they take on board and changes they make next year. Anything else to add there before we move on, fellas? Before we finish?
Nah, covered most of it.
Most of it later. That's it. What's coming up in your life, Bradley?
Another week of school holidays. So just training and not much.
Couple of 100K. Give me a report on the NRL grand final. Didn't someone smash someone?
Yeah, it was a bit like the AFL.
Yeah.
It was over within the first 20 minutes, which is disappointing. Yeah, so Penrith won back-to-back.
Panthers.
Yeah.
Were they favourites?
Yeah, they were.
Okay. Yeah. Moose, what are you doing between now and next week?
Oh, boy. Nah, nothing exciting that I can think of.
Oh, yes, you do.
No 5-star hotels?
You do have something exciting coming up this week, actually.
Do I?
Yeah, Wednesday night.
Yeah, you do. Wednesday night.
You're on with Christian.
Oh, wait, why? What's going on?
Because he's revealing what he's doing next.
New season starting.
Oh, God.
We don't know what he's doing because when we left him last Wednesday, he was still sick. So it was, if he could get over his sickness, he might reload in a couple of weeks. But if his sickness took a while, then he had to look further down the track for another marathon.
He knows what he's doing.
All right.
I woke up Sunday morning Well, you two are going to debrief together and come up with a plan, but I just woke up to a message from him, I think it was Sunday morning. All caps, I am done thinking, bro, ! I don't know what that means, but it sounds like the thinking has been done. He sounds
up and about again.
So Patreon, Stay tuned. Did you hear, Moose, that I'm going to the Patreon show as well for Road to Valencia? Me, Toby, Christian, and Ben Parks. Four of us over there.
I like it.
So Jess Stenson will be filling in for me for the next 10 weeks. Yeah, I'll host it. For real? Yeah, I reckon it's a good idea, don't you reckon? Get Jess Stenson on here on the road to New York. Put me, Toby, Christian, and Ben Parks over on Road to Valencia.
I'm not doing the extra work you do. That can be Croak. He can do that.
Yeah, he's going to host it because I've got a busy work. I've got a busy work schedule now. Carly's going back to work as well. So I reckon if you don't hear me next week, and you hear Jess Stenson on here, that's what's going to be happening.
I love how Brady's made all these plans without actually checking with these people.
The people that don't know about this plan: Toby, Jess Stenson, Ben Parks. But
Have
Christian,
you ever heard Toby talk?
Christian, talk to him heaps on Sunday morning.
Oh yeah,
the boy is fit too. What about he just jogs at 2:26 Croaks?
Yeah,
get a microphone in front of him. Things might change.
It's going to be good. Be on Patreon to listen to that next week, guys. But I'm looking forward to hearing what you say to him on Wednesday night. Two big dogs on the one Skype call. Thanks for tuning in, listeners. Enjoy the live show from yesterday in Melbourne at the Concrete Boots Bar. Moose, myself, and Matt Clarke, Olympian, second place finisher in the half marathon, joined us for a while. It is a live recording, so you do hear people, hitting plates. The kitchen wasn't far from where we were recording. It's not crystal clear audio, but it will do the job. Enjoy that. We're done, boys. See you later.
See you guys. Have a good week.
Later.
See ya. The team at Rohnoh are getting behind this week's live episode following the Melbourne Marathon. Rohnoh is more than an apparel or running brand. Rohnoh is an expression of community, a fresh and unique approach to Australian running, carefully crafted to elevate your running experience. Developed for all runners, Rohnoh's performance range combines technical fabrics and functional details. All garments are designed and prototyped here in Melbourne and constructed from fabrics developed in Italy. Featuring Rohnoh's signature care label on the back, each piece is engineered for the ultimate freedom of movement to go the distance. The team at Rohnoh pride themselves on developing meaningful relationships with their local manufacturers, staying connected with every stage of production. Don't forget to follow at Rohnoh Running through Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date with our running community. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, straight after the Melbourne Marathon Festival. It's amazing to see so many people here. It's always the case that no one wants to fill the seats at the front, so if anyone at the back wants to come down and sit at the front, you are more than welcome. A few things to go through before we kick off the formalities today. First off is a massive thanks to the Rohnoh guys. They're partnering with us for this show this afternoon. They sponsored the podcast a couple of weeks ago. Some product up here if you want to have a look at it at the end of the day or maybe in the break halfway through the show. Simon is at the very back up there. Give us a wave, Simon. He was out on the bike today. He's had a big morning, probably rode 45k this morning. So a massive thanks to those guys for being a part of the Inside Running Podcast live show at Melbourne Marathon. We've got a few things from the venue here as well. You can order beers from your tables. I think there's just an app thing to scan and then you can get drinks brought to you. So that's a massive thanks to Andrew and the staff here at the Concrete Boots Bar for helping us out. It's a pretty cool venue, some pretty nice beers on tap. So make the most of it before everyone else rolls in after the show finishes today. A huge thanks to the people who bought a ticket. We had 70 tickets to sell and 62 of them were sold to Patreon supporters. So there's 8 people in here who I wouldn't mind having a chat to later on today. But to the other 62, a massive thanks. There's absolutely, I know I say this on the show all the time, there's absolutely no way that our show gets to the amount of episodes we've got to without the support of our Patreon supporters. You guys do make us accountable each and every week, so thank you for your support and thank you for buying a ticket today and being here on a Sunday afternoon with us. You will notice that Bradley Croker is not here. his commitment to the show wasn't enough to bring him down from Melbourne. And we did replace him with somebody who was about 1 million times better than him in Sinead Diver, who is the Melbourne Marathon record holder, and she came 10th at the Olympics and better known as the Queen of the Melbourne Marathon down here in Victoria. And then at about 20k today, I ran past Julian Spence on the side of the road, and he didn't tell me anything about how my form looked while I was pacing or had the new haircut I got on Friday afternoon or anything like that, but he just quickly told me that Sinead is quite sick. You would have noticed that her name wasn't in the results today, and she is a late DNS, so she will not be joining us this afternoon, which is a bit sad. However, we did really want to fill this third seat with somebody, so we pulled out our phones, we looked at the results, we thought who was maybe in form. We wanted to try and go at least a like for like at Croaks, but I think we've done much better in that stake again. And we've got an Olympian here, and he's going to be joining us shortly. But before I introduce him, I will introduce my co-host, because I actually haven't done that yet. I feel like I've been speaking flat out for a couple of minutes. He's had a big morning as well, pacemaking duties, coaching duties, handing out gel duties. Everyone knows him as Big Moose, 2:14 marathon man. Would have got you fourth today, I think, Moose. Maybe third even, not 100% sure. Welcome to the live show, and thank you for joining me.
Thanks, mate. You can have a breath now.
Ooh, thank you.
You've done it. It was a great race call. I was on the start line this morning with, I think it was about 1 minute to go, and because I was carrying my phone, I needed to get home on a line bike afterwards. My phone was connected to my watch, and I had a notification just before the gun went from Sinead saying, "Sorry guys, I've got COVID, I can't make it today." I thought, well, that's a shame you won't win the half marathon straight up. It's a pretty big hit really, because she's got a PB of 69 minutes and probably the queen of the race, like you said. Probably the biggest star there today, so the race took a bit of a hit there. Payday for Sinead. Like, you do feel for the athletes when they get sick and they can't show up, because this is sort of how she has another job, but this is how she makes her living and how she supports herself. So when someone like that does get COVID and loses money like that, so it's more than just us at the show, Brady. I know you were quite disappointed at 23k. The brain started racking as who we could get, and I think we got a pretty good replacement, bit of an upgrade from Croaks, not like for like.
So I will introduce our guest. He's going to be joining us for the first 30 minutes up here, around about 30 minutes. We will have a bit of a break in the middle, and then we've got some stuff to talk about. We've listened to questions as well, which, Moose, you've got to remind me to do that before we go to the break. But this athlete today is an Olympian. He went to the 2020 Olympics. That's what they're calling them, but they happened in 2021. He was second place today in the half marathon, and probably the only guy in Australia who's given Jack Rayner a run for his money on the roads in the last 2 or 3 weeks, because he was also second at the City to Bay 12k, the Australian Road Racing Championships, a few weeks ago over in Adelaide. He is a Melbourne boy originally, now lives over in Adelaide, so I want to pick his brain about the different running cultures in the two different locations. And we might give a big round of applause to Matt Clarke, who has joined us So a massive thanks for being here, Clarkey. I probably rang you, I reckon, 90 minutes ago. It took a while to find your phone number. Tried Instagram DMs, but you told me you didn't have those notifications turned on. And a massive thanks for joining us and the Inside Run podcast listeners live here today. And congratulations on the race today. I'm calling it your first official half marathon this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me in. So I gave, I was saying it before, I ran the Athletics Victoria Burnley half marathon, but it wasn't really a super. Well, I mean, I gave my all, but didn't really do the proper training leading into it. I came back from a Flagstaff trip where I was still racing 1500s then. Today I went in super fit and was hoping to run a pretty good time, which I'm pretty happy with today.
Yeah. Tell us about how the race unfolded, because I know there were a number of people who were in the half here today and the marathon and I heard the stream was really bad, so even people who weren't at the race but were watching the stream might not have seen how the race panned out. But what happened out there on course, because it was a really good field. Seth O'Donnell, Andy Buchanan, Sam McEntee, Jack Rayner we spoke about, and yourself, so a really solid top five.
Yeah, so because it's such a hot field, I was maybe thinking they'd walk off the start line a little bit, watch each other, like kind of play a little bit of cat and mouse early, but Jack went straight to the front basically, and maybe just within the first K mark, and then was just hammering. We were hitting sub 250s for some of the Ks up until 10ish K. I think we went through 10K. I think officially it went through in 29:15, but my watch was beeping before 29. So it was Jack. So we were just hammering. I think it was me, Andy, and Jack at about 6K, and then there was a little gap, and I was kind of hanging on for dear life at this point on Andy, and I just thought, whatever, we've already gone out hard. Let's just bank as much time as possible. So I went around Andy at that point, sat on Jack, and just hoped the pop at the end wouldn't hurt too much. So then Jack cleared out at about 12 or 13K, and then I just did my best to kind of hold it together in from there.
When you hit 5K or 6K in the time that you did, is there a bit of fear in what's going to happen in the unknown going forward? Because a lot of us here go out with a pace in mind and we stick to the splits, like we know we have to be disciplined. But when you're trying to win the race, it's a bit different. So 6K when you're running sort of maybe into unknown territory, how do you approach that?
Yeah, I think the thing that was on my side a little bit today was the whole thing was going to be unknown territory. So the only kind of like little carrot I had dangling in front of me was my coach Adam Diddick said, if you go sub 62 you get to change events for Paris, so you can go to the marathon. So I was just thinking like, whatever, if someone throws a kitchen sink at it I might as well give it a nudge. Like I don't really have anything to lose, like I've never done a half before, and if it just turns out that it's not my event, then whatever, I'll just go back to the shorter distances. So we went through super quick at City to Bay anyway. We actually probably weren't that much slower than it today through the first part, but I just thought, let's just give it a nudge and see what happens, and luckily I had the fitness to kind of fortify the pop when it did happen.
Yeah.
So when Jack cleared out, was it a little second group that formed with Seth and Sam McEntee and yourself, or was it kind of spread out along the road?
No, it was pretty spread out. So it was, we had like a bit of a pack for the first 5K, and all the big names were in it that you went through, and then probably just a K or two after that, me, Andy and Jack got our own little 3-pack going, and then just going into Albert Park, maybe that's about 7ish K. It was just me and Jack at that point. And then I had a bit of a look around at around 10K and didn't really see anyone at that point. So I wasn't exactly sure what was where they were, but I think they were in a pack themselves. And then Jack cleared out, as I said, about 12, 13K. I looked around about 15K and just didn't see anyone. So I was just kind of running scared from that point, because even if you can't see people, I was still thinking to myself, gee, if I pop and I run a couple of 320s at the end, and they come hammering home and they only run some 250s, then that's a minute just in 2K. So I thought, even if I can't see them, I guess I've still got to do my best not to blow or anything like that.
After last week, you pushed Jack to the line at City to Bay. Did you think maybe at 5K, this could be a chance that we can even things up? I could take him today?
I think Jack's a bit of a king at the half marathon. I think the two guys that have beaten me this year on the road have been Jack and Brett, and I think they're just on a bit of a different league at the moment. I thought the 12K was probably my best chance. I actually hit the lead in City to Bay at about 1200 to go, and tried to kind of put in I was hurting, but I thought I'd put in a bit of a fake bluff move and hopefully he'd go into panic mode and pop harder than me. But 700 to go, he just showed me who was boss and went straight past. And, I thought that was probably my best chance. I thought the half marathon today was he was going to beat me anyway he wanted, really.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of happy that at least he dragged me through for a good time. I did say to him after the race, I was like, you could have beaten me at any time. You didn't have to break me that early. You could have dragged me through for a little bit longer.
Yeah, because it was 70 seconds in the end. So he was well out in front in 62.17 and you were 63.27, which leads to the conversation. You weren't under that 62 to be able to change events with your coach to go from a steeplechaser to a marathoner. But opportunity? You look like it's hard to where we sent nobody to the World Championships. So like there's an opportunity there if you want to go up to the marathon. You went to the Olympics for the steeple, but then controversial, I think, didn't get selected for the World Champs and the Com Games. So where are you at with career-wise, event-wise, to get in an Australian singlet again?
Yeah, so I still think steeple is my best chance. So even though they've cut the field size recently, it's from 45 down to 36, but the qualifier, even though they've made it harder, they've made it 8:15. I still think I'm only 7 seconds off that, and I think the form I'm developing over other distances, I think will translate into that as well. I guess the good thing about running well on the roads gives me confidence that I guess there'll come a point in time where I just can't sacrifice 3 months of my year to go overseas and run an overseas season. So when I do eventually, I think more through like cultural reasons moving into the road, that hopefully I'll have a good career and transition maybe into that marathon if I can execute all those gut and fueling things that come with it as well, being another specialised event.
Just a question on steeplechase. It's the most technical distance running event because, well, it's the only event that has a technical aspect to it. How do you approach your technique training for that? Because some coaches out there might have a hurdle kind of background, or you see some steeple group, well, not steeple groups, but steeple athletes do a heap of drills and training, and it's almost like they have a specific session for hurdling. Do you do that? Is that part of your training?
Yeah, it's a massive part, particularly at the start. So when I was still in Melbourne, I was training with Justin Rinaldi. He kind of managed, I guess, my fitness and my season and all that. And then I was working pretty closely with Steve Fabris, who has a 400 hurdles background, and we were doing weekly technique sessions since April before the track season started. So what's that? It's 8 months of specific technique work leading into before I even debuted over it. And then since then, since I've carried that on back into Adelaide, I try to get out in season once a week to keep just doing technical work, just jumping hurdles. And then we probably do a steeple workout once a fortnight, sometimes once a week, depending on what races are coming up. But I probably don't do lots of drills and particular movement pattern stuff. I just find jumping barriers is the best way to learn to jump barriers. So I just try to jump as many barriers as I can in the week.
Matt, the move from Melbourne to Adelaide, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago now, for listeners that don't know, Matt, pretty much this is where I saw it from the outside. You pretty much packed up your life to chase your running goals. You were a good AV kind of athlete and wanted to pursue that kind of international scene, which you've done now, but pretty much packed up your life, moved over to Adelaide to be coached by Adam Diddick, and in that environment, and have kind of never looked back, only got better and better, which is what we kind of saw with the results today. But I'd be interested in what are the cultural differences, because Melbourne's got a lot of people move to Melbourne to run. What are the cultural differences about running in Adelaide compared to running in Melbourne?
Yeah, I guess Melbourne's amazing in the sense it's got all these different groups, and I guess there's just a plethora of Olympians and high end amazing runners. I think Jack was telling me in the warm down today that just about over all the significant distances from 800 up are all held by Victorians now. I guess Adelaide doesn't have that much depth. Just the size of it means that obviously we're less fortunate with acquiring talent unless people move over myself. But one of the amazing things about it is being a slightly smaller city. The running there is just a lot easier, I guess, to achieve and manage. So things that I just used to not even think about just become normal life, like driving an hour to training or having to work a bit more because rent's a bit higher or whatever that is, or I guess everyone's just busy in Melbourne. Everyone has to work hard, play hard, travel more, do all that. We just don't have that in Adelaide. We got a lot cheaper rent, living costs are less, travel time is so much less. If I drive more than 15 minutes, I'm nah, it's too far, I'm not going.
Mate, you should move to Echuca. It's even better than Adelaide.
Yeah, well, like that's sort of it. There's probably some benefits from going like to the country if you're a really good athlete. But look, I guess to its credit, I probably didn't initially move over there with the intention of staying. So I moved over there, and then when COVID hit, I kind of had to think about other aspects of my life to focus on while I was over there. Things like getting a job and settling in a bit more, because originally I was going to go over there for 1 year, and that all got pushed back another year, and I just couldn't support myself for that long. So I got a job over there. Nitta, who does the Shoe Geeks podcast, was kind enough to give me an opportunity that I probably didn't deserve at the time, but I like to think I'm starting to pay him back a little bit now. Yeah, he gave me like my dream job, and so I'm not going to get another opportunity like that in Melbourne, I don't think. And of course I met my fiance over there as well, and then again, like the lifestyle that I just went over is it's pretty amazing when I come home and I speak to my schoolmates and all that about like how they're living, and they're just flogging themselves like 8 to 6 at work kind of thing, and then struggling to fit any hobbies in. Like I'm just like, no, it'd be crazy to go back.
Yeah.
The group you train with, Team Tempo, we've heard a lot about them through Jess, obviously. What she's done has been pretty amazing in the last 2 years, even her whole career. And we see Izzi today, like an Adelaide runner. She obviously trained under Adam for a long time. Talk about, well, the differences between a training session under Adam versus perhaps some of the training sessions you might see under other big groups in Australia, like Melbourne Track Club. Is there a significant difference? Like, is there a full philosophical difference?
Maybe not necessarily heaps. I guess both are relatively, I guess, aerobic groups. At least we are anyway. We maybe do a little bit, and I can't necessarily speak exactly for everything MTC does, just I don't know the overly specific ins and outs of what they do, but we probably do fairly high-ish mileage, or at least generally. There's a few athletes that have slightly more specific niches, but I guess if someone is like myself, completely uninjured and able to do whatever Adam wants, it's a fairly high-ish mileage group, lots of focus on aerobic training, not doing everything. It's kind of like what you guys talk about, not doing a lot super hard, but just getting it done consistently at like a sustainable rate, that kind of, the 8 out of 10s that everyone talks about. I guess probably maybe one of the things that Adam does really well is he just works super hard into learning like what the responses to training are that I guess each individual has. So everyone's got a hyper specialised specific training program that I guess Adam at least tries his best to analyse all the time and understand what that specific athlete responds to. And the only way he does that is by having a really specific program that he monitors everything super exactly and then tweaks as he needs over time.
So in practice, like, does that mean that if you go to a group training session down at the track, 15 athletes might show up or more? Or?
Yeah, probably, I guess. It varies a little bit. 15.
Let's say 15 show up and there's a workout prescribed. Does everyone have slightly different paces, distances, volumes? Because that's probably one thing at MTC we see, like the group session is the main feature.
I guess one thing, I guess, compared to us to like a big group like MTC, we've always got a lot less athletes. So even though we might have 15, sometimes more, 20 athletes rock up, Adam's really only like specifically coaching the higher end ones. Lockie Scott's come on board recently to manage some of the we'll say like more national level athletes, and so like they're really good at working in like with like some of the girls like Caitlin and Jess, and then because again we train at a slightly lower level, I feel like than like a max effort, I feel that kind of brings a lot of the zones a little bit more like into like the same range. So for example, if I'm training like Isaac and Max, we're doing pretty similar rep times, but what Adam will do a lot is he'll give pretty specific instructions on like how to approach a session. So if someone's just absolutely knocking it out of the park, it'll be like, all right, well, you can go a bit more, or like you can take more of the leading, if someone's having a bad day, it's more about focusing on like, ignore your watch, get through it, or sit in today, get dragged through. So Whether he's giving specific sessions or whether we got the same session, I'd say the goals for each athlete in that session sometimes are at least very specific.
Is he on the ground making a difference there? Like picking stuff up, giving directions, like kind of like in-person coach?
Yeah, massively. And I think that's probably one of the things that I really appreciate of him is that like he's always there watching, giving feedback throughout the session. It's probably one thing at least myself, I need to learn to probably pick up a little bit when I go overseas is like when he's not there, not having that to kind of like tweak a little bit. Like I can get a little bit carried away sometimes and I guess train a little bit hard and get a bit ambitious. And it's pretty nice having, and you know, some athletes are the opposite. Other athletes, you know, he has to kind of give a little pump up to him, be like, come on, you're fine, keep going, keep pushing. Whereas like for me, it's more about holding back. But yeah, as I said, like it's specific instructions depending on whatever it is, or say if, I guess more if something goes wrong, like we absolutely butchered, like I did this session a few months ago now, I absolutely butchered the first rep. I've nearly just ruined the session kind of thing, and I guess his ability to then, you know, problem solve on the spot and be like, all right, do this and then we'll do this instead kind of thing, to try and get that so that I can still get something out of the session is really valuable.
We'll read through the results a bit later on, but I think, no offence to your performance because it was good today, but I think team tempo run of the day was Caitlin Adams in the 10K, won by over a minute. We've seen Isaac Hayne come through that team tempo environment and kind of really stamp his authority on road races. Is she, you know, you and Jess are there, Isaac's there, is she the next big name to look out for in the training group?
Yeah, I think she's been a little bit underrated for a while. You know, she's made that, she auto-qualified herself once for that World Cross Country team. She's been knocking on the door for a little bit, and I think like she came back from overseas, I think, with a massive hunger, I think like we all did. And yeah, I'm kind of hoping that like, you know, this added drive to try and take that next step kind of puts her out there, and I think today just shows that she's definitely like trending in the right direction, hoping to make that next step.
Yeah, 32.27 on that 10K course. I'm not sure if any listeners or people in the audience ran that 10K today, but I heard it was not the fastest course in the world and a bit of pedestrians to deal with and things like that. So that's an amazing time on that course. Moose, any more questions for him before we let him go?
Now, we love a rivalry in the running world. We don't have enough of them. I think it's really good for the sport to have sort of some animosity between groups. In Adelaide, there's a clear divide now between the Izzi and Riley group and Team Tempo. Tell us how that looks in Adelaide, because you guys run at the same areas. Izzi's now coming after Jess in the marathon. We see that. Dodged each other at the City to Bay. You and Max take on Riley quite often, and Isaac. How's that feel go? You guys ever train together? You do workouts together, long runs?
Look, I do, I guess, a lot. I do the vast majority of my running solo anyway. So for the sessions, yeah, like we've got Adam kind of giving us specific needs. We don't do any sessions with them. I think look, Jess and some of the other guys, I know Lucky Scott's quite good mates with Riley, like they get out for jogs here and there. So I don't think it's necessarily a forceful rivalry, divide us versus you type thing at all. I think it's more just a byproduct of I guess both of our, you know, specific needs kind of thing going forward.
A good answer. Politically correct answer.
A few months of us on the podcast.
Yeah.
We'll put a spike in there.
We'll try to put something between us. Mate, that's all the questions I've got. As I said before, that was super late notice to get you here. Good luck for the future in the steeple and the road kind of game. Are there any races for the audience to look out for? What's next on the agenda?
I'll be hitting Noosa Bolt next.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big ASICS event. Should have mentioned you're an ASICS man.
Yeah. So big thanks to ASICS for supporting myself and my team.
Don't they like put you up in a house and stuff up there? They look after you guys well up there, don't they?
ASICS?
Yeah.
So I'm the whole team's not going up this year. So I won't be staying in an ASICS specific house.
Budget cuts at ASICS, you reckon?
Oh no. They definitely do a lot for us. We I guess I don't know what I'm allowed to specifically say. Who funds what and how it's funded, kind of thing.
No,
but
this is just between us here today. we can cut anything for the other 20,000 people that listen during the week. They look after you guys well.
They look after us
that's
very
the point
well.
I was trying to make.
They look after us very well. So like I probably in the stage I'm at and what I'm kind of willing to sacrifice for my running now that I guess I've ticked that life goal of making the Olympics and not being overly greedy to my partner and etc. and sacrificing too much life. ASICs really offload that and allow me with a lot of travel expenses covered and a lot of a little bit of like financial assistance here or there too, and of course like all the gear I could possibly need kind of thing to get through my running.
Yeah. Legend. Well, Moose, any more questions for him before we let him go?
That's me.
So well spoken on a last late notice. You didn't have time to prepare any of those answers, that's for sure. So thanks, Matt Clarke, for joining us here. Can we give him a massive round of applause, please? Thanks, mate. And send your message to Kate. The next part of the show, Moose, I was thinking instead of, because we are going to do a weekly show, so some of this will be in the weekly show, some of it won't be. We've still got London to happen tonight, so we thought we'll definitely do a weekly show with Croaks. It's always good to hear about how he fangs his long runs out of Mulligans. We can't have a week without that. So I thought instead of recapping our whole week's Moose, we could just recap our mornings.
Yeah, sounds good.
How does that sound? So you're on the start line. You get the news that Sinead Diver's not coming to the live show. You got a couple of boys on your shoulders saying you're taking me 2:30 marathon pace for 15k. Was that it?
It was 3:35 pace, which is slightly over 2:30, I think, or roundabouts. But no, yeah, it was good. I walked down from the accommodation this morning, and it's just such a vibe in Melbourne when you're heading to the start line. It's because of the hour push back. It was sunrise as kind of leaving the hotel, and then like you can see there's like just ants basically filtering down onto the river path to walk towards the G, and everyone is so up and about. Like it's just really good vibes. There's very good energy in the air. Probably the hour before a marathon, and the marathon is different. Like you can go to local fun runs, 10Ks or whatever. It's different to the marathon. There's a real nervousness about running 42k because the consequences are greater. And there's been a longer preparation, and there's more on the line, there's more investment, there's more emotion involved.
And it was a 1 in 50, I exaggerate things a lot, but I'm saying a 1 in 50 year weather conditions today. Me and you have ran a lot of Melbournes, that was 1 in 50.
If you got on like the weather app and you went through every single weather location in the world, you wouldn't have found better marathon weather than this morning. You couldn't have scripted it better. So I think that really enhanced almost the excitement. Is that people were on today, and kind of like Berlin course. You know, if you were fucking up today, it was on you. There was no weather excuses. There was no northerly winds to blame. There was no heat or humidity. It was on you.
It was just not your day if you had a bad one today. Is that what you're thinking?
There were some people that didn't have the day today. We'll have to, we can't blame the weather for that. But yeah, so I got to the start line, and I mean the little pen at the front, they do it quite well as you walk in, and found my boys. We went off 3:35 pace. We were slightly in front of Izzi. So Izzi we knew was going to try to run, we thought was going to run around 2:28 to 2:30 pace initially. So being in front of her, I was wondering whether my GPS was right or not, or if she was getting it wrong. I saw you put up some influencer posts this morning, trying to tell people what to do on the day. And
I think I stitched a lot of people up, including myself, because I put up a post saying, turn your GPS off, don't worry about your 1K splits, use the K markers on course. They're the thing, that's the course you're running. And then, as a pacemaker person this morning, it got to about 2K, and I'm like, this is incorrect. This is going to create panic when people go through here, because I think they measure it, because sometimes the timing mat's in the right spot, and then you look up and 100 metres later, there's a 5K sign. And I reckon they just look and go, 5K there, good pole, 125 metres up there, put the 5K marker there.
Close enough.
And if you're inexperienced and don't know that, I think there's a few things I would love for them to fix about this event, and that's one of them. It's like the big marathons don't get that stuff wrong, and it can impact a lot of people's races. And there weren't even, I think we went past a K marker at maybe 6, and then we didn't see a K marker till like 9. And it's like, how are people meant to run even when they don't know, Yeah, so I'm sorry for people that I said turn your splits off, because that would have been handy to have them, I think.
Well, it's the advice that I was giving the guys as well. So we went through 5K, and I looked down and saw a number, and I thought, that doesn't seem right. And I asked them, what's the range that we want? And they said they wanted 20 seconds quicker for the 5K. And I thought, oh boy, we've gone out way too slow here. But my watch was showing that we were going too fast. So we were sort of, didn't really know what to do, to be honest. It's a little bit just sort of said, how do you feel? And I said, I feel good. And I was like, great, let's just do that now.
As you should at the 5K mark.
Let's just go to feel. And I found my way to the back of that pack and just thought I'll just jog along here because I don't want to be blamed for anything later on. But yeah, by that stage, Izzi had kind of gone past us, was chasing down the two leaders, the two Kenyan girls. So we were sort of just behind them, and Izzi's group pulled away, maybe running 3:30s. I reckon that was probably what they hit early enough, and we had a really solid pack actually. So there was Surf Coast Track Club guys. There was 4 of us in there. Yeah. Then there was Paul Mulholland, who was an Adelaide athlete. I think he might do a bit of running with Nidda's group over there, or maybe with Maddie as well. So he was trying to aim for under 2:30. There was another Adelaide guy in the pack, and yeah, I just kept thinking, I'm so jealous of everyone today. Like, this is the day to run fast. By sort of an hour into the race, the sun had gone and it had fogged over a little bit, and the temperature dropped. So when does that ever happen? When does the temperature drop during a marathon and the sun disappear? I got to 15K and I went through, and that was my plan. We went through basically, I think we were 10 seconds under what the boys wanted at that point. And,
perfect.
I thought I could probably go to half marathon, but then I saw a toilet on the side of the road and I actually really needed to go, so I thought, I'll see you later.
What were the passing words when you peeled off? Like, did you give him an earful, like a motivational speech? Like, what did you leave him with when you left?
Have fun.
That's it, okay.
Yeah. No, I
expected better, actually.
I went it off quietly.
Did you?
It's not about me out there, Brady.
No,
I know you like to be the figurehead.
Could have really revved him up out there and passed on some wisdom.
You don't want to rush the adrenaline at 15K.
Yeah.
Save that for later in the race. No, I just peeled off, went to the bathroom, and then came back out and saw them come back down the road. And then got my phone out, got a line bike, and just cruised the course. And it was, a lot of people had good days. So from that group, I think the fastest finisher was 2:30.22, which you gave great assistance to from 35 kilometres onwards. That was very good help. And then there was a 2:31 maybe, and a 2:32. So the guys had a really good day. And it might not have been the sub 2:30 they were going for, but it was still huge PBs for all of them. And I had fun. My knee feels fine, so I got 15K tempo out. And then I looked at my heart rate data afterwards and thought that was probably a good time to get out, because I was very close to I was very over the threshold at that point.
Yeah. I'll tell you about my morning, because it was similar to yours. I was pacing it was meant to be around about 2:21 group. So there was a group of about 6 of us. I didn't think there were going to be that many passengers on the train early on. And I, as I said, soon realised that the K markers were out and just had to kind of chill out a bit and just kind of, because some of the Ks were saying I was running like 3:05, and then the next one was like 3:35 off the actual K markers on course. So I just had to kind of at least I thought the 5K timing mats were going to be accurate. And
so you didn't have any pace showing?
I decide, usually when I run a marathon, I just go stopwatch. I know my 4 numbers to hit or 5 numbers to hit, and then I lap my watch at the 5K increments, and then just keep doing that until 40K, and then run as hard as you can. But this time I had pace and lap time. So I could see that, like it said, we went through the first K and say 3:27, but my lap pace said 3:18. And I'm sitting there going, well, it's got to be, and I'm trying to say to the boys, I'm like, hey, don't worry about it, I've got it under control, we're going too quick kind of thing. I had John Dutton in there, Nathan Stope, they were the kind of 2 guys right on my shoulder most of the way. We went, this is good, Moose, you should be proud of this, 16:36, 33:20, 49:55, got him to halfway in at 70.09. So that's pretty nice pacing. It was
you want sub 220?
221 we're looking at. So I banked some time.
Why did you
Banked
decide
some real
221, not 220?
Oh, because it was all about Nate Stode, who is the guy I coach and talk about on the podcast a bit, and his PB was 221.50-ish, and he hasn't had the same prep that he probably had for Melbourne last year because he's been doing a lot of cross-country racing, and we thought, let's just go for a PB instead of like trying to break 220 and putting that pressure on. And then I ended up going to 24k and did give him a bit of a speech when I peeled off. Just said, look, don't bury yourselves. You get your nutrition in. Don't ruin this. I've set it up perfect. They both popped pretty hard in the second half. 221 high and 223-ish they've come in at. And then I had this really weird moment where I'm in 7th position. These guys are running off on me. I look behind me. There's no one there. They're running 320 pace. I'll put the brakes on and running 410 pace. And I'm getting the real like sympathy claps on the side of the road. People like, this bloke can't pace it. He's in for a long day. But I'm smiling back and I'm looking good. I'm looking smooth. I've got it under control. So people are like, good work, well done. And then I go, oh, thank you for the applause. And they're like, geez, you can even talk to us back. And people are just like, what is going on here? This is not sure. And then I got to you. I saw you on the road at about 20, because my initial plan was that I'd then put the brakes on, wait for a couple of people I knew were trying to break 240, wait for them to get onto me at around 32k, and then hopefully pace them the last 10k. And then I saw you on course, and I stopped, but I kept my watch running. And then I wanted you to get your phone out and tell me how Archie went, because I'm like, Moose, tell me how Archie won. Did he win the 10k? And you looked at me like you're a dickhead. I keep running. And then Ali was with you and had a chat, and then found out Archie come third, which was good. And then about a k later, I bumped into Zachar on the side of the road, so I stopped and had a chat to him as well. And like, people are hunting me down. I've gone from 8th to probably 28th then. And then I jogged until around about 34k, and you rode up next to me, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, get off the road. And I was like, I think I will get off the road here, because it wasn't good biomechanically to be jogging 4-minute pace in the Alpha 5s. I was like, I just don't feel smooth, and I feel I could maybe bring on a bit of an injury here. And then you said to me, you're like, my boys are coming. They want to break 230. Take them through. And I could see that little glint in your eye. You're just like, come on, do it. And I was like, shit, yeah, I'm going to do it. So I said, what pace is that? And they said, yeah, 333k pace, I think. And then, you said, you tried to introduce me to your guy. So you're like, Brady, this is Will, this is Brady. And I'm like, okay, Will, what are we running? I said, give me a K to like try and lock in. And then we come home flying. Like, I think we ran the last, he was tough as a bull, because that's through the tough area of the course, down past the art centre, up the hill. I would love to tell you exactly what it was. I'll be able to do that. Give me 2 seconds here.
Will was the guy in the group that was going to come home strong. We knew that. And it's very easy, like it's a lot easier to come home strong when there's someone around you with you. There's a little bit of competitive advantage to that. And so in order to do that, like you being there was perfect for him.
Yeah, so on my watch, we ran the last 7k at 324k pace. So he's trying to break 230, and he's ran the last 7k through those hills at 225 pace. So he was really good. And then what disappointed me the most was, you're running through the half marathons through the art centre there, and then up towards the town a bit, and then they peel off. And then we went up and did the towns to try and stuff and come back. But then we hit a lot of traffic through the Flinders Street station there, and he was like, I'm like yelling at people like, get off the road, marathoner's coming. Half marathons, yeah. And I'm like, I am a marathoner, but I'm like, get off the road. They're like, Will's coming, and he's going, what are we on? And I'm like, I don't know, I've just been splitting the last 4k. And the poor guy ran just over, I think it was 30 seconds over 230, but he'll get that next time. So it was a really fun morning. I ran 230.45. I was tempted to walk off though. I didn't want it on my profile. And I'm like, but how do I get back to my bag, which is in the change rooms at the MCG? And then I didn't want to go through that, like, I didn't want to just walk across the grass on the MCG and people be like, come on mate, 200 metres to go, you can do it. So I jogged it in and got a good long run, a good workout, and just being on the streets was just an amazing day. So
elite coordinator at Valencia is just going through results.
Yeah. So why do we give this?
Cross off this bloke.
Put him back in Group D. He's a 2:30 guy. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, didn't think about that. Wish I thought about that 5 hours ago. So a great fun day. It was good to be involved, and yeah, it was good long run. And just this is the shit to like being a part of events. Even just being involved and with people and the emotion out there. And I'd never met Will, but I was so invested in his group that I'm yelling at people to get off the road, and I'm like, move your arms, swing your arms. I'm like, and I even told him coming into the G, I'm like, mate, it's only 200 metres in there, you've got to get going. Knowing full well it's like 350 metres. But yeah, so running is a very, very special thing. So that was my morning out, and yeah, very happy with that. Boo, should we have a break? We'll have a break. If you want a drink, now we've got, for the listener questions and our competition for the day, Zacco, who's sitting in the front row here, he helps us with selling ads to brands and a lot of things behind the scenes of the Inside Run podcast. Talk about him all the time, but he's actually face to the name if you see him. He's going to walk around with some sticky notes. If you've got a listener question, we haven't got much of the show to go. We've just got listener questions and Moose on the loose. So we will be finished pretty close to, and we'll read out the results from today. We kind of talked about most of them and some observations. Maybe we've got a bit longer than I thought. But if you've got a listener question, he's got some sticky notes and a pen. Write it on there and put your name on the bottom, because listener questions are also going into a hat to win some Ernie Old product that we're then going to draw out of a hat. So so even if you haven't got a listener question, I'll just write some real basic question and put your name on the bottom, so then you can go into the draw to win the stuff. So Zach has got a couple of pads of sticky notes. He'll be floating around. See him. We might have a quick 5-minute break, because I know we did say we'd finish at 3:15. Bam, we'll do our very best to close the show out. So thanks, guys. We'll go 5 minutes. Toilet, drink, sticky notes. All right, legends, we might quickly restart. We've got a whole lot of listener questions, thank you. The ones we don't, Zach is frantically trying to find a good selection there. The ones we don't get to, though, we'll keep for the show this week and put them in there. Moose, we will quickly talk about the results, because Melbourne did today see their first sub 210, which is what they've been after. Timothy Rohnoh got the win in 2:09.13. Cornelius Kiplagat was second in 2:10.25, and then Australian Reece Edwards 2:14.42. Spoke to him after the race, reckons that's the best marathon he's ran, although he has ran 2:13 before, but on that course he thinks that's better than his 2:13s. Riley Cox, I will mention, come fourth solo the whole way, 2:16.57. In the women's race,
just on Reece's run, he actually went through halfway 65.39. So he's gone 65.39, 70, or 68.
We were talking how good your maths was last week. Remember when you're working out that 105% of marathon pace stuff? Yeah.
So it's a fairly big blow up to get to that point. So it's interesting he's called that his best marathon.
Yeah, he was really happy.
Pretty brave going out at that pace though. Out at 2:11 pace.
Well, he ran Burnley half marathon and he was 5 seconds ahead of me in 65.52 this year.
Yeah,
a month ago.
He's put it on the line today. It's a hard second half. Actually, on that, we were waiting in the 10, and right where the half marathoners veered off from the marathon course. Half marathoners turn right, marathoners go up left towards the shrine, and up the hill.
Yeah.
So we were just hanging out there. There was probably 6 of us on a bike and 2 prams just on the side of the road, on the actual road, but it wasn't part of the course. And all of a sudden we see Reece Edwards belting down the road, and this wasn't part of the course. So
where he should have turned left to get onto, is that St Kilda Road?
Yeah,
he's kept going down.
So he's gone off the course.
Disqualified.
No, well, he may have run longer, I'm not sure. Yeah. But we thought, how odd is that? I was standing with Collis, and Collis said, that's not the course. Like, he's way outside where the course is. So then we sort of made our way up to the roundabout where the marathoners dropped left back onto St Kilda Road where he should have gone. And there was a lady there saying, no one's here, there's no marshals here, and these cones I think were supposed to be put out to stop people running through, but no one put them out. So she went and did them herself, which, she just was standing there basically pointing at marathoners to go left instead of straight. So it's interesting, like the different course he's taken. You hate that happens in a race like this, especially to someone who's trying to qualify for events, and like it's Melbourne Marathon, it shouldn't happen. But it's actually also pretty dangerous. Like, we were just standing there, there were 6 of us across the road, and we were just like scrambling, pulling our bikes just to get out of his way. We thought we had really messed up because we were on the course, but a second later we went, no, this is wrong. Like, how is a runner like coming third in the race got sent the wrong way? At Melbourne Marathon, this ain't like Moama Marathon.
Wouldn't happen in Moama.
No, wouldn't happen. So why is it happening here?
I know, you raise a really good point. Yeah, Beatrice Cheptoo won the women's, 2:27.59. Izzi Batt-Doyle second, 2:28.11. This means 2 things. The qualifying time is 2:28.00, so just misses it. Is the fastest ever, though, debut marathon from an Australian female. And when you look at our current crop of marathoners, they all had a debut at one stage. So like she's tracking well. And Yena Baby Ijuju was third in 2:28.55. What'd you make of Izzy's run? Sinead still holds course record, by the way. So the Kenyan didn't get the course record.
Yeah, let's rewind 6 years. Forget about Sinead's rise through the ranks. Forget about Jess coming on, Eloise entering the marathon, and we'll go back 6 years, maybe 8 years, and let's think about an Australian lady running 2:28 at all, and then we consider that it was her first one. Then we consider it was at Melbourne off a month prep. The runner's a lot more outstanding than I think a lot of people are giving credit for today. And I think this does show that where her future lies in terms of the marathon. I think give her a proper 8-10 week prep, give her another couple of years of higher mileage, which she's obviously into, chuck her in a fast course with a bit, obviously she had competition today, but with a bit more on the line, and all of a sudden we've got another marathoner dipping down around Australia record time.
Looked like she had fun out there too, which is a good one for your first one. Positive experience straight away. So
she took 40k mark, she went past us and she was in 3rd place. So she's taken 2nd place in the last 2k. Her last few splits, if you have a look, she really did start putting it down, 320s, 321, maybe a 318 in there. So she's finishing strong, and that is the sign of her future, I think.
Yeah. The half was spoken about. Jack was there, Matty Clarke in 2nd, Sam McIntyre was 3rd, 63.49. And then the half, Jess Stenson, 72.23. Rose Davies, 74.05. Sarah Klein, Australian representative at the World Championships recently, was 74.44. And Moose, I'm sure it's one of the listener questions here. Big controversy about the half. Was it long? A lot of people think it's long. A lot of people's Garmin's 21.8.
Strava was an interesting place after the race today because, there was a lot of people claiming their watch times. But I think this is a legitimate measured course, correct? This is certified half marathon?
Surely. I think so.
Melbourne Marathon, it has to be.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I'm not sure. I mean, if it's not certified, then we don't know. It could be long. I think we trust Melbourne Marathon. This is a race that we give credit to. I'm going for it's a legitimate course. Your GPS is out.
Yeah. And Jess people will know more about this in the room than I do, but went hard and then was stumbling, I think, towards the end and in a bit of trouble, I'm not sure what you saw, but I didn't see anything.
Well, I saw a Strava, that's what I saw.
Okay.
And she blew up, big time. So she had
like a hit the wall blow up in a half.
Oh, no, well, she got slower.
Okay.
So she at kilometre 15 thinks, you can just see her graph, her pace graph just slower. And at one point she got down to 3 minutes 40 per K, which she was on 3 minutes 20 at some point. I know that There were a couple of guys running with her who ran pretty even and ran 70 minutes. We saw a fairly kind of steady decline after 15k. It's amazing, really, that she held on. I'm not sure, like the other girls must have had just as quick decline, or if they were in that pack, I don't really know. But that Sinead in this would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Just to see.
Eloise as well.
Yeah, whether they could hold on or not. The men's times were quite fast compared to the ladies. So the ladies' results are confusing because Rose Davies in second, like you would think Rose with her pedigree, last two Zatopek, she's won, clear, like very good 10k runner, running 74.05, like she wouldn't be happy with that time.
Yeah, 3:31 pace. You'd have her going quicker than that. The 10k as well happened. That was Caitlin Adams, which I said before, 32.27. Nat Rule, 33.42. Hasn't been able to convert one yet for the 10k for Nat. She got that 5k. What'd she run? 15.11 or 15.08, something super fast. Melissa Duncan in third there. And in the men's, Dale Carrol. Not a name I think we've ever said on the show before. He runs for Collingwood. He's a bit of a rare kind of guy. No one sees much of him, and then he come out and run a really good Albert Park 10k, and then no one knows anything about him. Do you know him?
I don't know him.
No. Lockie Hurd, though, we know him. We said his name a bit. He was 30.22. Then Archie Reid, third in 30.22 as well. So a bit of a sprint finish there coming into the G. Jude Thomas, the Australian record holder, in fourth, 30.35.
What do you mean Australian record holder?
He broke Ryan Gregson's junior, was it 3k? Yeah, I think he did. We'll go to listen to questions though, Moose, because we've got to wrap this up. We sat down today and we're like, no Sinead, we are going to struggle to fill any time, and now we're talking for too long.
I think you could talk your way through it.
We're talking for too long. Thank you. Zaka has shortlisted the listener questions, so the ones we don't get to, we'll do our best to put in this week's show. Some terrible handwriting here. Zaka, did you just pick the four worst ones with handwriting? Because I can hardly read them. But first one comes from Ben. Best recovery tips post-marathon, Moose?
Rest. Don't even think about running. Like, there's a trend at the moment to go for runs the next day to keep up streaks, or I'm not sure, to impress other people on Strava, whatever. But just get off your feet. Go for some walks if you feel like you have to get out there. But there is no point running the few days after a marathon. Maybe 7 days you can start to consider a jog, but in my opinion, I like to take 2 weeks off. 2 weeks of next to nothing. That's, your body deserves it, and you'll be better for it. And come 6 weeks down the track, I can guarantee you the people that took the proper rest will be at a more advanced stage than those that tried to run the next day and keep going.
Yeah, a month full recovery, to get a month to think about bouncing back and spending time with all the things you don't spend time with when you're training for a marathon, and then a month to get fit. So look for 8 weeks today, pick an event, I reckon you'd be ready to roll from there. The next one, Moose, should we do more training in racing flats instead of next percent and only race in the next percent so we get more of a performance benefit? From young Archie Reid.
Archie, you can spell that? You could read that?
One of the better handwriting ones.
I'm not sure about it. Maybe psychologically it's probably the only consideration where that could work, because if we do train in old school flats, then we will not perform as well in our sessions. So you'll have a bit more confidence when you pull on the next percent or the super shoes on the day, because we know they work, we know they provide an advantage. However, I think the benefits of running faster in training and the recovery benefits or the unloading benefits of a super shoe has more weight in terms of what you can do during the week training wise than wearing the old school flats. Maybe if you're very resilient, maybe you could wear the lower flats, the old school stuff, and then put the super shoes on only on the day, and that will give you you'll be sitting there like a king, thinking no one else has the advantage I have right now. And Strava's all your training in the past, your workouts, you know you can perform better when you put those shoes on. So yeah, there's definitely the potential. That's what all the old school runners used to have when they used to do their workouts in their heavies and only put their race shoes on for the day. They knew they were going to run faster. And part of that was sort of like the no ceilings concept. They didn't know how much benefit the shoes gave them, so they could rock up and they weren't like. I think this is one of the issues right now. Maybe Archie's smarter than he looks, but we do all these workouts in training now, and we get ourselves so specific to what we want to hit on the day. We probably limit ourselves a little bit. Whereas back in the day, you might train in your heavies or you're doing workouts. They adjust workouts and they're not as specific or accurate to what your race will be. So you put a ceiling or you put a cap or a restriction on what you can actually do on the day. So to take that away, to take that limiter away or that handbrake off and that expectation away and give yourself a little bit more potential on race day, then I mean that's a pretty nice thought too.
2 or 3 sessions a week for a marathon build-up from Alexandra.
There's a lot of ways to do this. So there's a lot of ways to get to the marathon, and like you've got Steve Monaghetti who's been talking a lot, 60 years old. He ran 3 sessions a week with a long run, and he ran 2:8:16. I think Rob De Castella did exactly the same thing. He ran 2:7 something, the Australian record. So our success in the marathon in Australia has been built off 3 sessions a week in the long run. But I think if you look overseas, we're seeing a lot more success with longer volume workouts. If you look to the new breed, I guess, like Kenya, some of those European coaches that prescribe training in Kenya, you'll see 2 big sessions with a lot of mileage in between. So there's multiple ways to do it, and those of us in Australia, we look to Mona and Deke and Troopy, the sub 2:10 guys as our indicator of success or our path to follow, and it's hard to argue against that. But when we sort of raise our view a little bit and see what's happening overseas, we see 2 sessions a week as perhaps the current trend or the future. I know for someone who's working, have a family, whatever, getting up for 2 intense sessions a week is easier than 3. As aging athletes, like masters athletes, I think 2 sessions with intensity is better than 3 sessions. And I think we underplay the value of higher mileage as well, which is easier to get in when we're running at less intensity. So that sort of speaks to the 2 sessions a week.
And the last one, I'm pretty injury prone when I aim for high mileage, more than, I think it's 150k. Patrick, you'll be able to tell me in a second, but I want to improve my marathon time. What would you recommend? Is that 150, Patrick, wherever Patrick is? 100k. So I want to get better at the marathon, Bruce. Doesn't want to get injured and be going higher than 100k, so how do you get better at the marathon?
Well, Patrick took the first step and signed up to Run Stronger Rotation.
Could be why the injuries are coming though, Patrick.
No, he hasn't started yet.
Okay.
I'm going to take 20 weeks at 100k over 10 weeks at 150k that are broken up by 2 to 3 weeks of injuries and 2 to 3 weeks of missed training. So give me consistency all day long, and then you might get a year of 100k a week with minimal injuries. That's the time to increase it. So I always consider linking weeks together at lower mileage much better than a few heavy weeks at high mileage with question marks over injuries and missed training, and even just psychologically having niggles or being on the verge of injuries is hard to deal with. So I take the edge off a little bit and run comfortably where you can.
That is listener questions. We're going to pick one out of a hat or off a chair in a second, Moose. If you've got Moose on the loose, we're kind of done, haven't we? The course issues.
Yeah, well, the course issue, there were several course issues in Melbourne this year. Obviously, we were part of it, seeing Reece run the wrong way. I don't think you ever want to see someone that sort of far up. Well, you don't want to see anyone at a major city marathon being sent off course. That's just no good. I know in the 10K there were a few incidents with the front group actually hitting pedestrians. So they take the run on a footpath. There was like proper incidents of like pedestrians getting hit by the front group, by the athletes up front, which is no good for anybody. So like we hate that. Also at the start line today, just people pushing towards the front of the actual start line, then running 4:30 5-minute Ks as the gun goes. Like, why on earth are you doing that? Like, for what purpose outside getting a photo or some sort of glory? I'm not sure. But it was legitimately dangerous. Like, you were on the other side of the start line, but I was looking ahead thinking, why are these people in front? Like, we're running 3:35. We should be about 4 or 5 rows back right now, which we were. Gun goes. A couple of people go off running 4.5, 5 minutes a K. We literally run straight into the back of them. And then by us running straight into the back, everyone goes around us. We're trying to fight our way through. Just have some common sense. Like, why would you do that?
That's it. Moose, that brings us to, I can tell you're worked up about it. I don't know why they do it. What's coming up? London Marathon's going to start shortly, I think, maybe 6 o'clock our time. Does anyone know exact? Zaka? 7:40 our time. Men's 7, women's first.
Women's 7.
Yep. Women's 7. Yeah. Something dodgy be floating around YouTube, I reckon. That's hard to watch our sport. No Mo Farah, no Kosgei. So 2 big names out, so some big DNSs there. Brett Robinson and Ed Goddard, though, will be there. And Bikili. I think you could win this.
You had a tipping competition on our Instagram. What was like the common theme in terms of what were the main guesses at?
Well, I bumped into Jack Rayner in the... hope he doesn't mind me sharing the story because it didn't say, hey, say this on air. But I bumped into him this morning and I said, oh, what's Brett going to run? And he goes, oh, what about that competition? There's some savages in the comments there doing like DNF and like people predicting that. So he's confident Brett will have a good run if he's trying to convince Brett to go through slower than I think he's going to go. So he's hoping that, he goes more with the 205 to the 65. The 65 group and maybe feel good at the end. But I think Brett's going to go 64.00, and from all accounts, Ed is going to go 64.30 pace.
It's so close together. 30 seconds over the half marathon is only 15 seconds at 10K.
Yeah.
And it's only 7 seconds at 5K.
Yeah.
So it's so close, right? Like, it's so easy to get caught up. And
could be one big group, yeah.
Yeah. Ed's not like don't have the best impulse control in racing, and Brett either.
Yeah.
I'm really interested. Yeah. I'm very interested. I can't wait to get this on the street.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Yeah. It's going to be good. Would you like to now, Moose, maybe close your eyes, walk over to the seat and then pick out one of those stickers, and then this person's going to come up and get a bit of are they picking one of these? Come see the boss up the back, the Ernie older boss.
You get a discount. Not
I was going to start giving them all away. Like, you get a top. Just go see the boss in the back.
Oh yes, we have the comedian here, Dave Hughes. Where's Dave Hughes?
Here he is.
Oh, you look like Dave Hughes.
So, Dave, that was my bad on our Patreon thanks a couple of weeks ago. Sorry to make fun of your name. It wasn't making fun. It was like just putting it together.
Very popular.
That concludes our live show. Thank you to the people who bought a ticket and rocked up. We do have this venue booked for the whole evening. I know Zach has got a whole lot of his mates coming in, the Melbourne Uni crew, a few Surf Coast Track Club people coming in, a few Bendigo Bats are about to roll in. We did tell them any time after 3:30. No one's rocked up since we've ticked over 3:30, but feel free to stick around. There is food an option here as well. Thanks for being a supporter of the show, as I said at the start. You guys make the show come alive each and every week. Thanks for buying a ticket to something like this as well. We want to always try to make our presence felt at some of these live shows, like we have at the Gold Coast before. And this is the first time for Melbourne. Sorry again that Sinead couldn't be here. Just, I don't know, getting her DMs or something and checking. I thought it was still good. Matt Clarke was good on short notice. And, massive thanks to the people from Concrete Boots Bar and Zach, actually. I cut him short before, saying he just sells ads on our show, but he actually finished 4th at the Melbourne Marathon once and won the Victorian State Half Marathon Championship. So he's a quality athlete who does a lot of work behind the scenes. So massive thanks to those people who got everything sorted for us to be able to do this show, and you legends for buying a ticket. So we're done. Thank you. This episode of the Inside Running Podcast is proudly sponsored by our locals at Ernie Old. Head over to ernieold.com for quality running apparel made right here in Australia.